Hey all, and welcome back to Fuzzy Dutchy Gaming, and the third part of our build guide, which is concentrating on how to gear up when you first transition to maps, and also how to utilize the various different crafting methods available to make sure that you don't have to slow down your progress. Most of the video is going to look at the claw and the various ways to craft it, but we're also going to have a look at ways to get early 5 and 6 links, and also how to craft some of the items as early as you can. Now there's a filter included in all the video descriptions, which is just on my profile. There are two claw filters. One's called A1 Claw, which is going to be your leveling filter, and one called Claw Mapping or Mappingclaw that highlights all imperial claws when you get to maps. You want to pick all of these up that you find and stash them. You can never have too many. Now there's various different ways of crafting a claw once you get to maps. Never ever craft on the claw you're using though, unless it's just to add a crafting bench mod. That's why I want to pick up lots of spare imperial claws, and they do drop all the time. You'll get 1 to 2 a map. So there's various different ways to craft claws. The first one we're going to look at is essences. Really, you only want to use screaming and upwards because the stats on the ones below are not really worth putting onto a claw. The 5 essences you want to look out for. There's 3 flat damage ones, which are wrath, hatred, and anger. There is an attack speed called zeal, and then there's a crit chance for attack weapons called loathing. These are the 5 essences you want to concentrate on. What I will do is unlock the Haywalk Hamlet nodes as quickly as possible, use all the spare chaos I've got on the map device to actually get essences, and then I'm going to farm for these essences and sell all the leftover ones. Your second option for claws is going to be harvest. This can be really, really good. There's loads of different harvest crafts we can do. Some are more likely to get better results than the others. Ones that I would use if you don't have anything else to use them on would be just the straight fire, cold, and lightning crafts. Don't use the more lightly ones because you're just going to roll resistances onto your claw. The attack one is good. The speed one is good. The best one is going to be the attacks, and attacks more likely because you can get attack speed and all 3 LE damage on one roll. It is unlikely, but this is the one that's much more likely to get you 2 or 3 of the actual stats that you're looking for. Number 3 is utilize your crafting bench. Make sure you're picking up all the flat damage recipes that are scattered throughout the game and use them on open prefixes. Regarding stats, attack speed is the most important stat to get, as the attack speed craft on the bench is terrible and it's expensive. It's 16 to 20% guaranteed attack speed, but it costs 1 exalt, not something I'm that interested in. 5th would be any claws that you get which are good but not great and maybe won't sell. Don't just sell them to a vendor. Scourge them if you've got an empty slot, because you never know what the results might yield. And then 6 and 7, we're going to look at what to do a bit later on. So you're progressing more towards endgame and you really want to get looking towards an endgame claw. And there's 2 options that I look at. The first one is I will always be searching the trade market for a fractured claw with either attack speed, crit, or really, really high flat lightning damage. Now you want to make sure it's only the bases that are 1.6 attacks per second, because it's no good having an attack speed fractured mod on a claw that only has a 1.3 base. Don't sleep on expedition. It's certainly an area I plan to unlock on the Atlas at some point, because Rog and also Gwenin can be really good for bases. Gwenin has a chance to give you influence bases, and they scale off your character level rather than the progress you've made on the Atlas. So Gwenin, once you hit sort of character level 85, you're probably going to be able to get item level 80 plus bases. So you might be able to get Hunter Gloves, for example, or you might be able to get a Shaper Ring. Same thing with Rog. He could be good for claw crafting and crafting all gear. We know how overpowered he was last league. So don't sleep on the expedition vendors. So now we're going to look at the gloves and the Assassin's Mark on hit ring. So to do this, it's easier to demonstrate it in this website called Path of Building, which is an amazing emulator for looking at any gear you might want to craft. So we'll reset everything. All you do is you select the base item. So if we're going to go for the Hunter Gloves, let's say we want Dex. We want the influence to be Hunter, and we need the item level to be 80, which I think it's... Oh no, it's fine. We don't need to set item level. And all you would do here is you would go down to the Hunter mods, find the mod you want, and you click on it. You can then click a crafting method and it will tell you the average number of attempts it would take to roll that mod. So if we do alteration, it will automatically assume you want to alt and augment. And it will say there, based on the currency at the moment, it's 35 chaos orbs to roll this mod. Obviously, it's all going to be dependent on the price of alterations and augments, but they don't look too bad. And I actually think this sort of currency could be cheap this league because it now drops in bulk and more people are going to be picking it up. So there's going to be more people to compete with the bots on the market. You can also look at other crafting methods. I just know that that's the cheapest way of crafting these gloves. You could go chaos, but it's 83 chaos on average to hit that. You could then go to fossils, and what you can click here is compute best selection. We'll let it roll through anyway, but while it's doing that, it will give you two lists. One will be the quickest way of crafting it, and the second will be the most efficient, as in cost effectiveness. And as you can see, to guarantee the mod, it's 5 tries with all 4 of these fossils, which is going to be megabucks, and the most cost efficient way is going to cost you 108 chaos. So definitely for this item, you want to be alting and augmenting. We will cover off another option because it's going to be the best way to craft the next item we're going to look at, which is the Assassin's Mark on Hit ring. For this, we're going to go into the emulator section of Craft of Exile, create new item, jewelry, ring, doesn't matter what base, and then we're going to say shaper and it's item level 80. What this brings you up is a crafting window with every single possible crafting method. The reason a lot of these are grayed out is because you can only use them on rare items. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to alch that item. Now, for this 2-stone ring, we want Assassin's Mark on Hit, and I know it's got a caster tag. If you're not sure, you can always go back to the calculator. So we've gone back to look at this shaper ring. We're now going to look for the Assassin's Mark when you hit a rare or unique enemy. And what we're looking for is tags, because if it's got a tag, we can probably deterministically craft it. And it's got caster. Unfortunately for us, shaper rings have a lot of caster. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I'm pretty sure it's got, 7. So it's got 7 caster mods compared to some others that might not. So if you go down here to Elder, for example, it's got 1 prefix. It's got 2 suffixes, and then it's got whatever the standard rings come with, which I think is 1 suffix. So these are the hardest ones to target farm a curse. But we have got some beneficial things. This is a great mod. Effect of reduced curses on you. If you can get that tier 1 and you combine that with Yugal Pantheon, that's 60 to 65% reduced curse effect. So the ring you're looking for when you're rolling this is these 2 mods. Reduced effect of curse and Assassin's Mark. But obviously we're just targeting Assassin's Mark for now. We're not going to get too greedy early on in the game. And the way you do that, we've now got our item. We know that it's a caster tag, so we can go into Harvest Crafting, Caster. We're going to do Caster reroll more likely to try and get both the mods. And you will just keep clicking this until you get the mods that you want. So this gives us the curse one. You also might find that you roll a ring that's worth money, and you need to think about, is it better to sell that ring and buy another base? So again, we're going to keep going. As I say, it's quite a rare mod that other curse rings are easier to roll, and that's the reason that these are often an X minimum at league start. It's not something we need straight away, so I would be happy to go through and wait for this to pop up in Harvest. Doesn't even have to be the high tier mod. There's an 8% and a 12%, I think, or there's 2 different levels. Oh, sorry, level 8 and level 12. So I've hit it there. It's not a particularly good ring, but just that on its own, you can either sell for money or you can use it. You just craft life on it, and away you go. And because we don't have access to the unique ring yet, early on you're not going to have Mark of the Elder because it's an Uber Elder item. Your second ring is where you want to just cram as many resistances as you can in there, because it means that when you craft in your hunter gloves or this ring, that you don't have to worry about resistances. So use your second ring slot on your belt to pack resistances into your item. So now we're going to look at targeting your 5 to 6 link, and there's lots of different ways to do it. And actually with Scourge, we get even more options. The first is the good old sacrifice fragments. You put 1 sacrifice fragment in a map device, which we'll just quickly do, and it will take you to a Vaal side area. They're slightly different to the normal ones because anything that drops can be corrupted, whereas when you go into a normal side area, you're really only going to get a corrupted 6 link out of the Vaal vessel. So if we go to fragments and we put this in the map device, it'll open up a side area. If you've got any and you've got the ones that don't sell for any money, I'll just stick them in here and farm them. If you can get a corrupted item, you can either then sell it or keep it. Because remember that in Scourge, we're going to have access to chromatic orbs that allow us to reroll coloured sockets on Scourged and corrupted items. So you could get a 6 link, you could even then Scourge it, and then you could chrome it to get the colors that you want. Now, because of in Lightning Strike, we've got several different variations of colors we can use. Any sort of hybrid base is going to be fine. So whether it's strength, dex, energy shield, dex, or energy shield evasion, they're all going to work. Other ways of getting it, which I'm going to go for, is I'm going to unlock, now it's going to be in Lyra Arthane, but at the moment they're in Turn's End, and that's exotic goods. These are the first 2 nodes that I'm going to take in Lyra Arthane because they unlock invasion bosses, and they do invasion bosses drop 1 additional valuable item. They drop 5 links all the time, so that's a really good way if you haven't yet got a 5 link of getting one, and they do drop uncorrupted 6 links, so that's a really good way of getting your 6 link. So another method of more currency farming is utilizing heist when you level up. So let's say you've just leveled to maps and you're 66. You've got the option to just go straight into maps if you want, but you do have access to a vendor at the Rogue Harbour over here who sells contracts. Oh, I don't know what that reward's for. So he sells level 67 contracts for 1 chance each, or 1 ALC for a rare. I would probably ignore the rare ones. Just buy the chance or ones up. Every time you level up, these reset. You can buy them all again. If you do this for a few levels, you're going to be sitting on quite a lot of chaos and loads of currency. You've then got the option of going to trade and buying some items for that chaos, or keeping it to maybe put on the map device later. And if you run out of chance orbs, you can buy chance orbs for socket links, I think. Yeah, so orb effusions at the beginning of the league are about the same price as chance orbs anyway, so don't worry about spending orb effusions to get chances, because chances are really, really popular early on because of both this vendor here and Zana sells maps for chance orbs. Now, I can't find the post, but there was someone posted something from the skill tree on Scourge where one of the options is 10% chance to link unlinked sockets every time you Scourge an item. You can obviously Scourge an item 3 times, and there are 3 tiers to this mod. It looks like it goes 10%, 20%, 30%. So it looks like if you put an item in there that's either a 4 and a 2 link, a 3 and a 3, or a 5 and a 1, you've got 3 chances in a row at 30% chance of turning that item into a 6 link. Now, we don't know if it's going to work like that or if they're going to change it, because that seems stupidly overpowered. But if you get into the game and you can see that that mod still exists, I would 100% utilize that, because I can see that getting changed. So the way you would, I wouldn't say abuse, because they've put this in the game, so we're going to use it. When you pick 6 sockets up, link them so that they're either 4 and a 2, 3 and a 3, 5 and a 1. Shouldn't take more than a couple of fusings. And then use an essence on it that's got life on it. So maybe an essence that's going to give the item 80 life. And then just Scourge it. If it fails and it doesn't link, you can just sell the item. It's not cost you a lot. Keep repeating that, and that's going to be a way to get a 6 link. But we don't know A, if it's going to be changed, or B, how accessible that is. Is it the last mod you unlock and you're already going to be in tier 15 maps and it's no use to you? I mean, say no use, it's a good source of divine orbs if nothing else. I would also say don't sleep on the delve catch-up mechanic. So they've already showed that if you level to 90 and then go to delve, you're going to be at monster level 80. Obviously, you do have to interact before that, because you're not going to have any sulfite, and your sulfite cap's going to be the 1200 minimum. So all I would do is every time you get full on sulfite, visit Nico, hit as many azurite nodes up as you can, get your sulfite cap up, and then just level to 90, completing Nico missions as you go. Then when you go into delve, you should have a stack of sulfite. You're also going to be at monster depth 80. So you can then go delving, looking for the special nodes, the cities, and the bosses. In terms of when I'm leveling, my idea this league is not to interact with the league mechanic at all until at least Blood Aqueducts. I know Chris Wilson said you can drop some really good leveling items, but it's basically doubling the amount of time you spend in a campaign zone because you run in the same area twice. I'm not saying this is how you should do it. This is just how I'm going to deal with it. But what I am going to do when I hit BA is I'm actually going to spend quite a lot of time in here running the mechanic. The reason being, I'll be nicely geared by then. I'll have lots of movement speed. It's also a really, really linear zone. So my plan here is to just zoom up and down, activating Scourge whenever I can, picking up any of the Scourge currencies that hopefully drop, and then putting any items in that I might be able to make use of the Scourge mechanic. Because we're then item level 62 drops in that zone, you have got the potential of dropping a half decent item, then Scourging it might be something you can either use or sell for a nice early profit. Then, as I say, when I get that done, I'm just going to rush to Kitava, kill Kitava, get my resist balance, heist for a little bit, and then I'm straight on to unlocking Maven invitations. I want essences in Haywalk Hamlet and invasion bosses in Lyra Arthane. Then once you get leveled up more and you can do more content, you're then going to maybe look to unlock whatever part of the game you want to farm, whether it be Breach, whether it be Blight, whatever you want to do. And that's my plan for this league. I'm going to be streaming live on Twitch for the first 6 or 7 hours of the league, and then most of the following day. Going to have a break Sunday because I'll be burnt out. Then I'm off all the next week off work, so I'm going to be streaming regularly for at least the first week of the league. So if there's anything you're not sure of in the guides, because I know there's a lot to take in, drop by. I'll always answer any questions that you've got in chat. Now, I hope, as always, this video's helped. If you've got any questions, feel free to leave them in the comments, but they're starting to get a bit difficult to respond to all of them. So I would say if you do have follow-up questions, Twitch on League Start is probably going to be the place to come and ask the questions. There'll be a link in the video description. Thanks for watching, take care, and see you in the next video.